Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping right into something that's honestly a bit of a universal struggle, the biological reality of hair loss after age 35. But we're not just here to talk about the problem. We're on a mission to find actual, science-backed solutions that work. Whether you've just started noticing a few extra hairs on your favorite sweater, or you've been battling thinning for a while now, we're going to look strictly at what the research tells us so you can take back control. So I want you to think about your morning routine for just a second. Have you noticed your hair kind of losing its strength lately? Maybe you're seeing way more hair than usual in your hairbrush or, finding that little extra clump shedding near the shower drain. It's one of those things we absolutely try to ignore at first, right? We just hope it's a passing phase. But to really understand why this is happening, we need to look at some real-life experiences. Take Neha, for example. She's 36, and a few months ago, she started noticing this extra shedding. First on her brush, then on her pillow, and eventually in the shower. And she tried literally everything, switching shampoos, testing out those DIY home remedies, even totally overhauling her diet. But the shedding just didn't stop. It was only when she really started digging into the research that it clicked. Turning 36 meant her body was going through these completely natural shifts in hormones, metabolism, and hair growth cycles. She wasn't doing anything wrong. Her biology was just changing. Okay, let's dive into our roadmap for today. We're covering 1. The age 35 turning point. 2. What's happening inside your hair follicles. 3. Men versus women thinning. 4. The hidden culprits of hair loss. And 5. Those all-important actionable strategies for growth. Section 1. The age 35 turning point. The absolutely crucial thing to grasp right off the bat is that these changes, they are completely normal. Just look at this number, 100,000. That's roughly how many hair follicles the average person has on their head. It's like having 100,000 tiny biological factories that you have to keep running. When we're younger, that hair cycle stays beautifully balanced. But as we cross into our mid-30s, those factories gradually start to lose their steam. They produce thinner, weaker strands, which makes the whole canopy look a bit less dense overall. Moving on to Section 2, inside your hair follicles. Now, to really get a microscopic look at the problem, we have to understand that every single strand on your head goes through 3 stages: growth, which is the anagen phase, transition, or catagen, and resting and shedding, the telogen phase. But here's the age 35 catch. As we get older, that absolutely crucial first step, the growth stage, gradually gets shorter, meaning your hair literally has less time to grow before it falls out. And to top it off, your scalp's natural oil production starts dropping, which leads to drier hair and a lot more breakage. Think of your hair kind of like a giant tree, right? When a tree's roots get plenty of water and nutrients, the branches grow strong and thick. But if those roots are starved of nutrients over time, well, the branches inevitably become thin and brittle. Your hair works exactly the same way. If the follicles buried deep beneath your scalp aren't getting the fuel they need, the visible hair strands are just going to weaken. Biologically speaking, this process actually has a name. It's called follicle miniaturization. I really want to emphasize this term because it is at the very core of age-related hair loss. As we age, those hair follicles literally shrink. So instead of pushing out robust, thick strands of hair, they push out these superfine, fragile ones. And this shrinkage is exactly what makes your scalp more visible and makes your overall volume feel, well, dramatically less full. But hey, before the panic sets in, let's see what the experts have to say. Dermatologist Dr. DePauli points out that losing 50 to 100 hairs a day is completely normal at any age. That shift after 35 just means the hair loss develops a bit more gradually over time, mostly thanks to hormones and natural aging. But look at the second half of her quote here: maintaining a healthy scalp and a balanced diet absolutely helps. Early intervention really does work. You are definitely not powerless here. Which brings us to Section 3, men versus women thinning. Let's see how this builds differently depending on who you are. We'll compare 2 38-year-olds, Rahul and Priya. For Rahul, and for a lot of men actually, thinning usually kicks off with a receding hairline or some thinning at the crown. And this is heavily driven by genetics and a specific hormone called DHT, which directly causes that follicle miniaturization we were just talking about. Now, Priya, on the other hand, she isn't seeing a receding hairline. She's noticing her ponytail feels a lot thinner, and her part is getting wider. For women, this is mostly driven by a drop in volume tied to hormonal shifts, pregnancy, menopause, or conditions like thyroid disorders and PCOS. So the symptoms look completely different because the biological drivers are different.
All right, Section 4, hidden culprits of hair loss.
While aging and hormones definitely set the stage, it is rarely just one single thing causing your hair to fall. It's almost always a convergence of factors. Genetics and hormonal changes are kind of the baseline. But then we layer on things like nutritional deficiencies, like just lacking those vital vitamins. We add frequent heat and chemical styling into the mix, which totally weakens the hair shaft and breaks the hair before it even gets a chance to grow. And crucially, we have chronic stress. Long-term physical or emotional stress actually forces more of your hair out of that growth phase and prematurely pushes it straight into the shedding phase. No fun at all. Now for the good stuff. Section 5. Actionable strategies for growth. So the crucial point is how we respond to all this, right? Let's move from the causes to some science-backed solutions. Your hair follicles desperately need specific nutrients to stay active. We're talking protein, iron, vitamin D, zinc, and biotin. Because hair is primarily made up of a protein called keratin, a lack of it weakens the strands instantly. The good news? You can actively fight this by just incorporating more eggs, fish, nuts, seeds, and leafy greens right into your daily meals. Next up, we have to talk about vital lifestyle adjustments. Remember how we said stress basically pushes your hair into the shedding phase? Well, managing that stress through simple things like yoga, going for a walk, or honestly just prioritizing a good night's sleep, that is an actual biological hair loss treatment. Also, because hair takes a lot longer to recover from damage after 35, gentle care is pretty much mandatory. Avoid pulling your hair back into those really tight styles, and for sure, drastically limit using excessive heat tools. Let's get into some direct pro tips derived from our sources. Pro tip 1, focus on the scalp. A healthy scalp is the undisputed foundation of healthy hair. I mean, if it's clogged up with product buildup, your hair just won't grow properly. Using a protein shampoo for scalp nourishment is highly, highly recommended. Specifically, formulas that are enriched with orange peel extract and oats are fantastic. Why? Because they gently cleanse the scalp and remove impurities without stripping away that essential moisture your older hair so desperately needs. And pro tip 2, do not ignore those early signs. Way too many people wait until they have extreme thinning before they finally take action. Consistency is your best weapon here. Starting interventions early, like a targeted scalp nourishment routine, can proactively strengthen your hair over time. It dramatically reduces further damage way before it becomes highly visible. And that brings us to the end of our explainer. We've seen that while aging naturally slows down the hair cycle and shrinks those follicles, you actually have incredible power to change the trajectory. Proper nutrition, a little stress management, and targeted scalp care go a long way. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to take with you. Knowing that healthy hair doesn't improve overnight, but rather through consistent, gentle habits, what small change are you going to make for your scalp today?